my crafty friends, welcome to the Upcycled Design Lab. If you're new to my channel, my name's Cindy and I craft using recycled and repurposed materials. And today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite crafting tools. It's called the Green Creativity Paper Bead Roller, and I stumbled onto it a while back, and it's become one of my all-time favorite tools. If you've seen some of my other videos, then you've probably seen me use this tool and sing its praises, but today I wanted to take a deeper dive into the tool and show you some things that I may not have made clear in my previous videos. I do want to mention that this is not a sponsored video, and I'm just sharing my thoughts and opinions. But if you decide that you want to purchase one of these and you use the link that I'll provide in the description, I will get a small commission, which I do appreciate. And the best part is it doesn't cost you anything extra, so it's kind of a win-win. So if you've ever made paper beads, you know how simple they are to roll, and you might have even used a wooden skewer like this one to wrap the paper around to make your beads. So you might not see the need for an official bead roller, but here's the thing you might not know. I've used my bead roller thousands of times, and I've actually never rolled a paper bead with it. So before you dismiss this as unnecessary or just a kid's toy, let me just tell you that it's been a real game changer for me. For one thing, it allows you to roll the beads faster, but that's not why I love it. The reason that I love this bead roller is because it allows me to make beads with these. Now you might be thinking, why would I want to make beads from soda cans? And maybe you don't, but I like the way these beads turn out, and I think they have a really nice weight to them. They're waterproof, and just like paper beads, you can make all different kinds of bead shapes from the aluminum cans. The aluminum can be rolled with the printed side out like I did on this bead made from a Coke can, but my favorite way to make the beads is to roll them with the aluminum side out. And then I just use some very inexpensive alcohol inks to add a lot of different vibrant colors to the beads. I've made several jewelry pieces. These are a few earring styles and some memory wire bracelets, just to show you some examples of what you can do with this bead roller. But I've also used the beads to make some beaded pens and all these little insect sculptures. There's an ant in a couple of sizes, a ladybug, a bumblebee, a caterpillar, a grasshopper, a dragonfly, and even a butterfly. You can use them just to set out as display items or as plant charms, and I even used my dragonflies to decorate my Christmas tree. So hopefully this shows you some of the creative things that you can make using this bead roller, and if you're interested in learning more about any of these specific projects, I will include links to all the tutorials in the description box. So now let me tell you why this bead roller is special. As I mentioned, you can use a plain wooden skewer to roll paper beads, and that's how I've made all the paper beads that I've ever made. However, a few years ago, I decided that I did want to try to make some beads from the aluminum, and when I tried my old method with the wooden skewer, I found that it was just too hard because the material is thicker and it's just too hard to keep the piece rolled tightly. So you definitely need something to help you hold the material in place. I haven't tried a traditional bead roller. I know that they also have sort of a double barrel or a way to grip the paper or the material that you're rolling. So you might be able to use a regular bead roller for this. If you've tried it, let me know in the comments if this does work. I've been kind of curious and I may try to get a traditional bead roller, but I do think that this Green Creativity bead roller makes rolling the beads much easier because of the way that it's designed. So I should probably stop right here and mention the one question that I get asked most frequently, and that's about the sharp edges of the metal. The truth is that once the beads are finished, they're not sharp or dangerous, but the edges of the metal strips can cause some pretty good paper cuts if they're not handled properly. And that's where the Green Creativity bead roller comes in. So let me show you quickly what comes in the box. There's the bead roller portion with the handle and the little barrels. You can attach this to a liter plastic bottle. It kind of screws on just in place of the cap if you want to use it that way. And then there's a little hole here to drop the beads into, to drop them into the bottle for storage. I prefer just to use this handle piece, which screws right into the bottom, and then that just allows me to hold on to that and wind the beads. There's some simple instructions on how to put the bead roller together and how to use it with the bottle. A couple of pieces of paper for the beads, and a little bit of glue and a little glue applicator. But the features of this bead roller are the things that really make it stand out, especially from a wooden skewer. So there's two little barrels here that you can slide the material between, and that helps to hold the material. There's also this little pressure plate that helps to keep the bead tight as you're rolling it. And this handle makes the bead rolling very simple. So let me show you how this works. I've already cut some bead strips here, and you can do that with just a regular pair of scissors. And I cut down and flatten my aluminum cans into these sheets, and then there are templates that I use to cut the beads from. If you need some tips on how to make the aluminum cans into these flat sheets, I will also link to that tutorial in the description. The first thing I want to do with the aluminum is you can't use just a regular glue to hold your aluminum beads closed. So I use some aluminum tape. It comes in a big 2-inch roll like this. You can find it in hardware stores and home improvement stores. And it's really easy to cut. It has paper backing. So I just cut a piece about 2 inches long. And then I peel back the paper portion. Just maybe a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch, and I'm going to put the tape on the end of my bead, and then I want to leave the paper on the back. The next thing I want to do, I'm going to roll this with the aluminum side out. So I do need my skewer for this first step because I just want to start a little coil here. Just turn it one time, and then I'm just going to tighten it up with my fingers so that it will slide onto these two little barrels, and I'm going to slide it between the barrels. You can slide this little pressure plate out of the way, slide the bead on, and then you'll see that it's very easy to coil. And if you need to tighten it a little bit, once you've got it turned a few times, you can go ahead and tug on it gently and tighten up the coil a little bit if you need to. You can see that I'm just using my index finger to gently support the back part of the strip. You don't want to get your fingers on the sides of the strip because that's how you do get paper cuts. And then when you get to the end, you could just remove the paper tape from your, or the paper backing from your tape, and close off the bead. So you can see how simple it is to use this bead roller to roll the aluminum into a bead. Of course, no tool is perfect, and the one drawback of this bead roller is that it does have a maximum bead size. So for this bead that I just rolled, I only used one strip of the aluminum. But you can attach the strips together using the metal tape to roll larger beads. So here's a bead that's rolled with 2 strips, and this bead is rolled with 3 strips attached together. And that is about the maximum size that the bead roller can handle, because this little pressure plate only goes down so far. So your bead size is limited by this little pressure plate. Having said that, I just gave you the rule, and now I'm telling you that I do break it sometimes. I do have a couple of bead styles where I've rolled 4 aluminum strips with this bead roller. And while it does get very tight and it can be more difficult to remove the bead from the bead roller, it can be done. So I do want to say a little bit about the durability of this product because, as I mentioned, I've rolled thousands of beads and I have pushed the capacity limits of this bead roller, and it is still rolling, if you'll pardon the pun. I actually thought that I had broken it at one point because one of these little pins pulled out when I took one of the beads off, but I was able to push it right back in, and I've used it hundreds of times since then. So I am sorry to tell you that the price of this bead roller has gone up since I've bought mine a couple of years ago. But they're still very affordable, and if you'd like to purchase one of your own, head to the description box of this video for the link. Also in the description you can find all of the related links for the project tutorials that I mentioned in this video, as well as access to all the bead templates. There's a place to sign up to receive the Upcycle Design Lab newsletter, and a host of other information about me and my channel. I'd love to have you join my YouTube family by clicking the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you soon back here in the lab for my next upcycling experiment.